About a year and a half ago, nearly, I made a video about why I paint Joseph Merrick. That was really to do with my first feelings, I think, and my maybe raw reaction, my immediate interest in him, how I was attracted to him. I think over time, as I've learned more about him, my feelings are kind of mellowed, maybe matured, and though I paint him as he is, I think more and more I'm thinking about himself inside. I mean, I always think about himself, but I think it's become more and more important to me, because he was a man, and with feelings, I try and show those feelings, and I suppose maybe I'm showing my feelings too. I think it's Joseph Merrick is a very complicated subject, and he was I think, a complicated person, complex. I definitely don't think that he was naive, like Treve said. By no means he was. He was an intelligent, determined person. He knew all about life. If there was something he didn't understand, it was only because he hadn't had any contact with it, and so in that way it was new to him. I think he lived sometimes, when he was at the hospital, he lived in a world of his imagination. He had to. It was one of the ways he coped with being how he was. And it's sad as well to say that the only way he felt he could express how he felt, and his aspirations, his desires, his dreams, was to pretend and act them out when he was alone in his room. And also, of course, as in when he saw the pantomime, actually he saw more than one pantomime, but we only know about the Puss in Boots pantomime that he went to. That's written down, that he went to more than one. His imagination, he absorbed himself so much in what he saw on the stage, and he was able to, just for 2 or 3 hours, he was able to escape what was his self, his outside self, and feel what was in his inside self. But then I assume when it was over, like any other distraction he would have, a visitor or something he enjoyed to talk about, I can imagine that the waves of reality crashing back on him, it must have been awful. At least his imagination was powerful enough to give him some relief, perhaps. I think what I'm saying is, the more I paint him, the more I learn about him, I suppose, the less I know about him. That's what I want to say. He just becomes more and more a complex character. I was thinking the other week about how he, as I said, how he coped with his outer self to his inner self. And one moment I think he must have been detached from it somehow in his mind. I mean, he knew that his condition was a part of him. You can read it in his autobiography, the way, the poetic language he uses, almost humorous. about this fantastical landscape that's his head or something like that. But with it, I feel there is a certain feeling that also is not him himself inside, and he knows that too, while at the same time being acutely sensitive to every part of his body which wasn't abnormal. And this is what I'm saying, he's a very complex man, and I don't think anyone should say that he was naive, and you can't be straightforward about him, never. It's very difficult. Unless we can go back in time and actually talk to him, it's very difficult to try and understand him, understand his mind. His mind was the most important thing about him. I've said before that to cope with this condition, maybe his deep belief was a great help, but there was something about his mind too, his character, that kept him going no matter what, and that is what's so very interesting, and that is what I try to portray in the pictures, maybe, this determination, this, I say pride, and I don't mean that he was proud in that way, but I mean his upstandingness in himself, I can't think of the word, that he knew he was better than a lot of people. He knew that, and he could have been he could have done so many things if he hadn't had the condition. And it's sad that in that way that he's, to many people, to most people, and you can't really help it really, he's only famous because of his condition. Yeah, so that's what I'm trying to say. It's very complex, and not one of us, I don't think even a person no, that's wrong. I really don't think any of us, any person, can put themselves in his position and try to imagine how he felt in his mind. It's just impossible, and it's hard to grasp how anyone could have managed to get through life like that, really. I don't know. It's very difficult. It's very difficult to talk about as well, because when you start to think in the more deeper ways about him, it is upsetting. When I paint the paintings and when I draw the drawings, for the most part, apart from a very few, and I've specifically done a subject which is upsetting, I find that I cannot paint him with a sad face. I give him this expression that he's smiling, because I feel that. But at the same time, I can easily become upset as well, because there were so many things in his mind he had to deal with, and he was a remarkable, strong man, and I hope he's remembered with respect always. Anyway, I can't really express myself, but it's very complicated. Anyway, now I'll continue with the painting that I'm working on later this evening. I just want to express something. It's very complicated. I'm still trying to work it out in my mind how it. Anyway, Joseph, as always, was lovely. Thank you for watching. That's all for now.